Well, hello everybody. This is Mike DeBoer with the Franchise Business Podcast, and I'm very excited to be joined today by Paco Beltran. Paco, you're someone we've had the privilege of building a relationship with. Been able to meet you at some conferences. So I'll kind of let you introduce yourself, a little bit about yourself, and then what you do for people that are kind of exploring getting into business for themselves.
Absolutely. Well, first of all, my name is Paco Beltran from the Entrepreneur Source. Just like you mentioned, I've been doing this since 2017. So I'm a coach and a franchise business coach, as a matter of fact. But I like to call myself more of a guide. Okay, that I'll help individuals explore the possibility of doing something on their own through franchising. Okay, and that's kind of like a little bit about me. I live in Michigan, in Clarkston, Michigan. I was born and raised in Mexico, but now proud U.S. citizen, and so here I am in Michigan with my family.
Awesome, Paco. Well, I'm a big Lions, Red Wings, Tigers fan, and I don't live too far away from you.
Yeah,
on the other side of the border, but not too far away.
You're on the other side of the border, and yes, you're hitting it right in the nail. It was kind of weird to be a Lions fan from Mexico, but that's who I am.
Hey.
So living in Michigan, it makes me very proud. And also, I'm a big fan of the Red Wings, which, again, for a Mexican to follow hockey is really weird.
Sure.
But it's so fun that now I have the opportunity to go to the games and things like that.
Very cool. Awesome. Well, we share teams, so we'll get along very well on this interview. But Paco, I think about your role, like you said, you're a guide, and I think that's really important to phrase it that way, because if somebody was on this journey on their own, it can be confusing, right? Thinking about, okay, what are my goals, what are my interests, and then what are all these models that are out there? Because I don't know what the exact number is, maybe 3,000 different franchise models that exist. Or more. So on that note, what is your process kind of like to learn about your clients and then help guide them through that journey that they're in?
So the key element first has to be within, does it make sense to become a business owner? And that opens a lot of possibilities that are out there that can potentially work or not work. So the key element is, okay, let's get to know each other a little bit better. Let's try to understand, everybody likes the goals, needs, and expectations, but also, what are your business values? What are your motivators? What is your family relationship? Do you like where you live? And we use, at the Entrepreneur Source, we use several tools that allows us to understand each other. But the key element is conversations, being able to talk and understand, what is their people feelings. A lot of people believe that their future has to be with something that they learned in the past.
Right.
And no, what happened in the past is what allowed you to be to where you are. Right. And you have to learn all the things that happened to you, so you can translate that into skills, maybe potentially motivate you to do something completely different. And that's where I come in. That's where I get to understand those little details that allows me to figure out, number one, if business ownership, it's a good fit for you. And if it is, hey, let's explore the possibility of doing something in franchising. Why franchising? Because I don't want you to invent the wheel. The wheel is already invented. And so why start something from zero where somebody, already invented a methodology of success? You just have to follow it. Or kind of like, or like I like to say, do you want to push the wheel or you want to pull the wheel? But the wheel is invented. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's part of the things that I do.
Absolutely. No, that's a great way to put it. And you're right. I mean, starting a business from scratch is daunting. It takes years to develop and come up with that big idea and then vet it out. So you're right. Franchising is really, it's there and then you execute it. Right.
Yeah. Now, don't get me wrong. Thank God for entrepreneurs.
Of course.
The company's called
it's in the name.
Source. Yes. Okay. So, but the people, if there were no entrepreneurs, America will not be where it is.
Right.
So thank God for that.
Sure.
Okay. But the reality is, and I don't want to talk to the entrepreneur. I want to talk to the people that wants to be self-sufficient.
Right.
That person that wants to do something on their own, but not alone.
Yeah.
And that's the key, the big aha moment when they go like, oh, so I can do this on my own.
Right.
But if I have something, I can pick up the phone or have an interview with somebody and say, hey, what do I do here?
Right.
So that's the key element of franchising that people normally don't see.
Sure, absolutely. And then, the other thing that we talked about, Paco, is all of these different models that are out there. And I know TES and you guys do a really good job of kind of vetting these models. So you're bringing good recommendations to your clients in terms of, these are good models. Now, some of them will be the right fit, some of them won't be. Correct. Again, we decide that together. But how important is that process once you learn about the person to then give them some options that they can, explore in more detail?
So I hope that my example that doesn't catch you a little bit off guard, but I always like to do this. This is about dating.
Yeah.
Okay. So as a matter of fact, to some of my clients, I even say, I more than a coach, I am a matchmaker.
Yeah.
And everybody kind of freaks out. Okay, but it's not about getting you a date, obviously,
right.
But it's about going through a journey in a slow pace, trying to understand the other side.
Yeah.
While the other side, it's also learning about you.
Sure.
So what happens is I'm going to put in front of you, 3 franchises or more when it's necessary. But I want you to get to know them a little bit better. I want you to go deeper. And obviously, I'm going to be guiding you. That's why I said the word. I want to become more of a guide than a coach. I want to guide you through the process and to this journey so you can actually, learn about what's in the other side of the fence.
Right.
But that fence also has a lot of holes. Okay. And they also are looking at you because they want to make that great match. Right. And that's the beautiful thing about what we do. Different than, hey, so here are 4 franchises, take a look at them and tell me which one you like.
Yeah.
No. So that's why I utilize terminology of dating because I want you to go for a coffee. Then after the coffee, come back to me and say, so how was it? Okay. So I like about this. Okay. So now let's go for lunch and let's go to dinner and until, do you want to marry me? Yeah. And that is when you actually decide if you want to become a business owner or not.
Sure. No, it's a good analogy.
I hope that example kind of like gives you an idea of not only how we work, but actually how I interpret this journey of learning about the business. And like you said, I love what you said. So which one is the right one? I have no idea.
Right.
Let's go for a date and let's see how it works.
Yeah.
Okay. And so that's exactly what we do.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. No decision can be made without education and information being shared and a relationship being built, right? That's so important.
Absolutely.
So I really like the analogy you've made there. Now, I'm sure, Paco, maybe you haven't had any challenging kind of client situations and you've been lucky. I'm sure that you've had people with different, circumstances. Maybe really all, people have different challenges that have to be kind of dealt with in this process. But any example that you're able to give about a client that you worked with that maybe had circumstances that they had to work through and you had to work through, but they got to a point where they made a great decision for them and they've been successful in that business ever since?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And we can go in different directions here.
Right.
And yes, I've been doing this for 8 years, so I have had my share of challenging moments. People like to say challenging clients, but no, it's the moment, the situation that a client is going through. I still remember a lovely couple from Alabama that they didn't have a good credit score. Right. And they wanted to do something on their own. They were over the age of almost getting closer to the age of 60. Right. So starting a new business was daunting. Yeah. And I mean, like, Paco, are you crazy?
Right.
And the answer is yes, I am. Let's see what happens,
Sure.
And and the situation with them is they really had a tough time. And then when I met them, they say, yeah, we know that this is the solution, but I have a 500 and something credit score. So instead of just dumping, well, let's look at this business. No, let's first divide this journey into chunks of situations. And the first one was, let's work with your credit score first.
Right.
So has nothing to do with business ownership. Yeah. Let's work on your credit score. And we were able to, several months and months and months, and with the help of people that are with us in our portfolio, help move those 500 to maybe 650, which is not enough.
Sure.
But now they saw the trend.
Yeah.
Okay, now let's start talking about businesses.
Right.
And one thing led to I worked with them for almost a year and a quarter.
Oh wow!
So
a longer process. Yeah.
So, in every week, every single week, Mike, we were meeting. And what about this? Did you pay this credit card? And Did you meet with this business? And and last year they became business owner of one of the businesses in our portfolio. I flew to Alabama and I met them, and awesome. I love them, and oh my God, it makes me a little bit sentimental just thinking about it. Okay,
right.
And that is one of the challenges. Other challenges can be clients that will say, "I'm not interested in a franchise."
Yeah,
who cares? It doesn't matter. I want you to open another avenue.
Yeah.
You're looking for a job, or maybe you already are in a job that you don't like, or maybe you're in a business and you want to put eggs in different baskets.
Sure.
All of that is challenging because they automatically say, no, I cannot do it. And it's funny, but it's my responsibility to say, of course you can.
Right. Yeah.
You just need to be open.
Right.
To explore. Now, obviously, there are people that are not open. Or there are people that simply their financials they don't get to where they want to be.
Right.
Or the spouse will freak out. Okay, then hey, I'm here.
Yeah.
Let's talk about it in a couple of years.
Yeah.
And funny enough, and that's just circumstantial. Right now, I'm working with a gentleman that I stopped talking to them in 2022.
Wow. And
I'm working right now. Okay. 2022. Are you kidding me?
Right.
It's 2025 right now.
Yeah. That's a lifetime. It feels like a lifetime ago.
Are you crazy? Yeah, but it doesn't matter. It's just,
no.
I don't know. That's the rewarding part of what we do.
Right. I think everyone has a different process and a different timeline and a different situation, right? So you're meeting people where they are and not giving up on them if they're not gung-ho to move forward right now, right? That's the point. You're like you're a guide, and guides walk alongside people.
In my opinion, we have to be guiding them, like I said before.
Right.
We also need to be their strongest cheerleader.
Yeah.
Okay. But at the same time, there's people that doing something on their own with franchising are not the right fit.
Right.
So sometimes, or a lot of times, you have to say, no, this is not for you.
Sure.
You will get into a potential risk for your family, for your future, for your relationship, for your finances, whatever. Right. And you have to say, you have to be able to say no.
Yeah.
Not now.
Right.
And I think that's the big difference of what we do versus what other people that are their only interested is to sell a business.
Right.
I'm not here to sell you a business.
Sure. Yeah. You care about them being in the best position possible for themselves, right? Whatever that looks like.
Yeah. At least that is my style. And that's what I have learned from the Entrepreneur Source.
Absolutely. Awesome, Paco. Well, any other success stories that you want to share? I know you just talked about a really great example, but anyone else? I mean, you've been doing it since, I think you said 2017. So, I'm sure you have some great success stories to share.
I do have but like to say, I have a lot of great stories,
Yes.
but
Yes.
we will not have enough time. So
Sure.
but I have one that it's close to my heart. And I am in Michigan, like I said,
Right.
and I met a guy that he used to sell for ads for radio.
Okay.
Okay,
Interesting.
great guy. It's just he was just tired of the same grind over and over and over and over again. And so I met him, and I met him in a position where he wanted to do something differently. And we went through this journey. We started dating, like I just said, with different franchises. And now he is very successful in a business that has to do with floors and carpets and things like that. I don't want to get into the detail of the business. I don't think it's fair for your audience or for our audience, but a business that does that.
Right.
And he started going up and 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 up.
Nice.
He just hit it right in the nail.
Right.
And now we hire him and his business to do all our floors, all our carpets.
Nice.
My son just became a business owner. He did his floors and his carpets.
Right.
And so I'm going like from one side, I am so I help him explore this business. So that's one side.
Sure.
From another side, the franchisor is thrilled with this guy.
Yeah.
He's being very successful. And then in the other line is he's my supplier.
Right. That's very cool. Lots of dots connected.
It's just a full circle. And what else can I say? It's just when you obviously 100% of the time you want your client to be successful, and there's some that are very successful that are not that much.
Right.
It's just I just don't know. Okay. Yeah. It's just like saying you're always going to keep married for 30 years.
You don't know. Right.
I don't know. Yeah. Okay. But the reality is being able to see this circle close, I think that is a great story.
Yeah.
And from that one, I have other more. I like to build a relationship with my client
and stay connected with them after.
Oh yeah. I even I've been traveling all over the country.
Yeah.
When somebody becomes a business owner, that's some of the things that I try to do. I cannot do it with all of them, but that I try to do. Because at the end of the day, I get to meet you and meet your family, get to know each other. Now I want to give you a hug.
Right.
Yeah. you know, and so I try.
Sure. Yeah. No, that's awesome. And I'm sure people feel that you're positively impacting their life and you care about them. And it's gone a long way because you've been very great at what you've done, Paco.
Thank you. When you get that email, thank you for changing our lives.
Special.
Email or text.
Pulls at the heartstrings.
Yeah, kind of like what's going on,
Yeah.
And that gives you a reason to continue moving forward.
Yeah, absolutely. No, that's what we're in it for, right? Is that impact we can make. And Paco, you've been doing this. I'm sure you run into. I mean, you've kind of brought up a few kind of misconceptions that people might have, either about just business ownership in general or franchising. What are some of the things you run into most commonly? And then how do you help people kind of overcome those maybe kind of wrong ways of thinking and get them, have clarity in how they approach the process?
Yeah, I think that the big one is this is not about food.
Yeah.
Franchising is not only about food.
Yeah.
There's a lot of industries out there, a lot of companies that do things that are not food.
Yeah.
Well, not you, because you also are in this industry, but
right.
People out there has no idea how many franchises are around them.
Right.
They go out and they just see a company there and or a small business owner there, but they don't know that's a franchise.
Sure.
And so the biggest misconception that I've found is that it has to do with food.
Right.
Okay. Nothing wrong with food. It's just
It's bigger
that is
than
not
that.
the only thing that it's out there.
Right.
Number two, that you're going to work 60 or 80 hours. Another big one. No.
Yeah.
I work 29 hours a week. And I know that because I track
your activity.
This meeting, which I'm so grateful that you're allowing me to have with you. I am grateful to you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Is work counts like 1 hour.
Sure.
Okay. So every time that I'm in front of the computer, that counts. Okay.
Right.
So I can tell you with certainty that I work 29 hours a week.
Right.
Okay. In this business. Okay. My wife is also a business owner. My son is a business owner. So we're a business owners, franchises,
family.
Okay. But so I help them with them. So that grows from 29 to 33 hours.
Right.
So I work 33 hours a week and I do pretty well. Okay. Let's put it that way. So people say, oh, no, I'm going to be working nights and weekends. And what people don't understand is that when you are the business owner, you control your calendar.
Right.
Now there's going to be days that you're going to work a lot.
Yes.
And there's going to be days that you're going to have to maybe go the extra mile. But normally that's not the case.
Right.
So that's the second thing.
Sure.
And the third thing is it costs millions of dollars.
Yeah.
No, there's a lot of ways to get funded. A lot. As a matter of fact, I will, again, match you with people that can potentially help you fund a business. I'm not saying angel investors or financial advisors. No. People that can teach you based on your structure, your net worth, or things like that. Hey, maybe you can do this or do that, or get a ROBS or get a SBA, or there's a lot of ways to fund a business.
Yeah.
And I can assure you right now that the concept of millions of dollars, it's not there. There's some businesses that cost that.
Of course.
But
many that don't, right? Far lower. Yeah.
But, by far.
Yeah.
By far.
Yeah. Absolutely. No, I think there's a business for every budget, and a lot of businesses that don't have that overhead of a brick and mortar, which if you want a brick and mortar, that's fine, but there's a lot that aren't, right? And you don't need staff, and you don't need equipment and vehicles and you know things that you need to buy.
And don't go far away, Mike. My family, I am in a owner operator alone type of business, virtual, which is mine.
Yes.
My wife has a warehouse and employees and running around.
Yeah.
And my son has a brick and mortar.
Right.
But you say, but Paco, why? Well, because my son wanted to say, Dad, I want to own that.
Yeah.
I want to touch it.
Tangible thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Me, I cannot go like this.
Yes.
Right? This doesn't work.
Right.
And so that's part of the, even in my own family, everybody had a different journey.
Sure. In
my own family. So I'm not going to put you in a box if you're my client.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. No, that's a really good example of how different people are and what they want can be very different. And there's models to fit all of that. Now, Paco, those are my questions. I kind of like to end these by giving you a chance. If there's anyone that's maybe watching and they're thinking, I want to move away from my job. I'm uncertain about the future. I'd like to do something for myself, be my own boss, get into business for myself. What would you say to that person that's thinking about starting this journey?
Well, the first thing is, hey, let's explore.
Yeah.
Hey, doesn't cost you a dime. My services are at zero cost to my clients.
Right.
I get paid by the business community. So there's not that, oh my God, how much is this going to cost me? No, just be open-minded to explore other possibilities. My cell phone number, 248-303-3094. Text me that, hey, I saw you in this podcast or I saw you in this video. My website, www.pbeltran@esourcecoach.com. But more than that is, there's not a lot of Pacos out there.
Sure.
Just look me out in LinkedIn, connect with me, and let's have a conversation. Don't make any commitments.
Right.
Just be open-minded to explore other possibilities. And that could be while you're working, if you're unemployed, even if you're a business owner, even if you own another franchise.
Yeah.
Okay. Who cares?
Right.
Just be open and that's it. And most important for me to you is I'm grateful. I'm grateful to have this opportunity to not only to see you, okay, because I can't see you before, not only to see you, but to talk about this is a great opportunity for people that are thinking there are other options outside corporate America. There are.
Yeah.
Okay. You don't have to be like, I need to find a job because that is the only way. That is a major misconception.
Yes.
And that, I'll use the word drug that we get on a weekly basis of getting my paycheck or my double. It sounds, because I've been a business owner, I've been a corporate guy throughout my life.
Right.
It's awesome until you are in the other side and you go like, huh. Man, I started this in 2017. Man, I should have started in the 2000s.
Sure. Yeah. Right.
Things like that.
Absolutely. No, it's and I'm grateful for you for joining us. And I can attest to the fact that, anyone listening, Paco is a great resource. He's great at what he does. He's passionate about people. And we've, again, had the privilege of getting to know you and been lucky to do so. So, Paco, I really appreciate it. Thanks for joining us. And thanks for your valuable insights.
Thank you. Completely the other way around. I am thankful to you.
Thank you. And thanks for everyone for listening as well.